Emoni Bates, man, this was supposed to be the one. The guy who everyone said was the best high school prospect since LeBron James, the next Kevin Durant, the best 15-year-old basketball player ever. Every big headline a young player could have gotten, he got. ESPN even ranked him as the #1 prospect in the country among all classes as a sophomore, and was the only player to ever win a Gatorade National Player of the Year as a sophomore. With all of these accolades, you would think he is a bona fide NBA lottery lock, but with a few bad decisions and some inconsistent play over the course of 2 years, Emoni has been taken off all NBA mock drafts completely and is on his last leg for a shot at getting drafted in the NBA. Some NBA executives are even saying that Emoni is on track to becoming the next Lenny Cooke, who was in LeBron's class and ranked higher than him, and turned out to be a bust. There's definitely a lot to unpack in this situation, and I'm here to do all of it and more. Before going any further, I do want to say I hope going forward Emoni has the right people in his circle to guide him and keep him on the right track to fulfilling his NBA potential. What's going on, guys? Bucket Media back with another video, and today we're talking about Emoni Bates and how he was arguably the greatest high school prospect ever, and how he potentially won't make the NBA. If you enjoy this video, please smash that like button and subscribe, and comment and share this video to continue to support the channel and its growth. With that being said, let's dive straight into the video.
Yo, YBH.
To start, we gotta bring it all the way back to where it all started. From the start of middle school, Emoni was already ranked #1 in the country as a 7th grader, and it was clear the potential he had. He was a 6'7", skinny kid with a toolbox above and beyond his years. He could move like a guard and was able to shoot threes, handle, and throw it down in transition at only 7th grade. By this time, he already had his first college offer from DePaul University. In 8th grade, he kept the momentum, dominating AAU circuits, continuing to improve his game, and was 1 year away from when he took the grassroots scene by storm. Bates had options to play at any high school he wanted across the country, but chose to play at Lincoln High School, which was a local school in Michigan coached by a Bates family friend. Sooner than later, 9th grade hit, and this was where he blew up following a sequence of events. Bates already had scouts all over with eyes pointed in his direction, but when he was invited to compete for a spot on the Team USA U16 team, he showed everybody the hype was real. He absolutely dominated and caught all attention in a camp that featured players like Anthony Edwards, Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham, James Wiseman, Chet Holmgren, and a boatload of other high-level NBA players. In a camp filled with 5-star upperclassmen supposed to take over the show, Bates, who had not even played his first high school game yet, stole the show. It was so real that one of ESPN's head scouts, Adam Finkelstein, claimed that he was the best 15-year-old he had ever seen play. As you can imagine, the pressure on Emoni was heating up, and he was expected to have a huge freshman season. Bates capped off his freshman campaign averaging an absurd 31 points and 10 rebounds per game, while leading his team to a state title in Michigan and also winning the Max Preps Freshman of the Year. Bates went straight into the Nike EYBL 15U circuit, where he played a few highly anticipated games, one being against Strive for Greatness, which is LeBron James's AAU team, which featured his son, Bronny James. Of course, this was a highly anticipated matchup, and once again, Bates did not disappoint, and he dropped 43 points. As expected, when all the mainstream rankings came out, Emoni was named #1 on all of them, and heading into his sophomore year, there were some big expectations, but to say he met those expectations is an understatement. Bates absolutely exploded for a sophomore campaign, averaging 33, 9, and 3, while leading his Lincoln High team to be on pace to win a back-to-back state title, which was cut short due to COVID. But nevertheless, Emoni had the entire grassroots game on double lock. Calling him the next best NBA prospect wouldn't be crazy at all. After an incredible 10th grade year, Bates was named as the Gatorade Player of the Year for Michigan and nationally. Bates won this award against every player in the country through all 4 grade levels in high school, and was the only sophomore to ever win it. On top of that, when ESPN dropped their top 25 players regardless of class, Bates finished #1 on the list over current NBA stars like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, and Evan Mobley, which is crazy. With COVID, the entire basketball world was on pause, and with Emoni entering his junior year, we all expected him to continue his firing high school career. But Emoni shocked the world with his announcement that he would be committing to Michigan State University and transferring to a new prep school that his dad started called Ypsilanti Prep, based in Ypsilanti, Michigan. This move would allow Emoni to play on a bigger stage and was thought to be a smart move, but before we could all realize it, this was the start to Emoni's downfall. As soon as Emoni got back to playing basketball at Ypsi Prep, you could clearly tell that he had regressed from his pre-COVID campaign. campaign. He was still ranked number 1 regardless of class, and right behind him was number 2 Chet Holmgren, which was a grade above him. Both played a nationally televised game against each other, which was highly anticipated and sponsored by ESPN, and this was thought to be one of the biggest games of the year. Emoni did show out, scoring 36 on great efficiency, but as the season went on, he stayed stagnant in his development and was pretty underwhelming in certain games. Bates also got into an altercation with his teammate Jaden Akins, who was also a Michigan State commit, and was later forced out of the school by Emoni's father, which we will get back to in a bit. But with Bates not improving, guys like Derek Lively, Shaden Sharp, Nick Smith, amongst others were rapidly ascending, and at this point, Bates was still regarded as a top 5 player in his class, but he was clearly not what we thought he would be. In May of 2021, Bates announced that he would be decommitting from Michigan State, which many speculated after the Akins incident and a mutual loss of interest between the Bates family and the MSU staff. Entering Bates' final AAU season, he played with his Bates Fundamentals team for a short period of time before switching to team final to play with number 2 ranked Jalen Duren, Duke commit Derek Lively, and many more future college stars. In this period, Bates showed he was in fact able to play with other stars, which was a huge question, but it was known that Bates is not the same player and not nearly as dominant when playing with other good players, which was a huge problem. Fast forward to later in the summer, Bates announced that he would forego his senior season and reclassify up to the class of 2021 to enroll at Memphis University, teaming up with Jalen Duren. This was an extremely questionable move for Emoni. For Duren, since he was draft eligible and physically ready to dominate the college game, it was a no-brainer to make the move and get to the NBA fast. But with Emoni, he was not eligible for the upcoming draft, and he was definitely not ready to play at the college basketball level from a physicality standpoint. Bates was promised by Coach Penny Hardaway that he would run the point guard for Memphis, but was exposed at practices and preseason games, losing his spot immediately. But to make matters worse, when NBA scouts came to watch practices and have an evaluation day, not only did Emoni underperform immensely, but his measurables were very bad. He was listed at 6'9" with a 6'7" wingspan and had a 24-inch vertical and a 31-inch full approach vertical, which was a huge red flag for NBA scouts. But with Bates debuting in college, he struggled to get his shot off against bigger and stronger defenders. He clearly needed to get stronger and play with better pace and learn how to play without the ball. But with a very bad freshman season at Memphis, he dropped from a top 5 projected draft pick to a very late first-round pick at best. A few months after the season, Bates announced that he would transfer to Eastern Michigan University, a mid-major school in his hometown of Ypsi. This move came with a lot of skepticism of how he can buy into a team role and that he only knows how to play with the ball in his hands. As time went on, it seemed as if Emoni's situation could not get any worse, but it did. Almost a month ago, it was reported Emoni Bates had been arrested for carrying 2 guns in a car while he was driving. With further investigation going on, if Bates was found guilty on certain charges, he would likely miss the entire 2022 to 2023 season and potentially the rest of his college career, while potentially facing a maximum of 5 years behind bars. It was just recently reported that all charges on Bates would be dropped and that he would be cleared to join the Eastern Michigan basketball program after a temporary suspension. But although that Emoni is cleared to play, the image he still has from this incident will remain, and NBA scouts will remember this. Whether Emoni was guilty or not, he cannot mess this up. With that being said, this is Emoni Bates' last chance. If he fails to perform at Eastern Michigan or makes another bad decision like this, his NBA hopes very well could be over with, and he will have to settle for a mid-tier overseas team. I am praying for Emoni and hope he stays on the right track, because it is truly sad to see how he went from the chosen one to potentially a bust. And I think Emoni has the work ethic and wants to be great, but must surround himself with the right people. If Emoni Bates' story can tell us anything, it's that nothing in life is guaranteed. What seemed to be like a can't-miss prospect turned out to be a massive disappointment. And while I do not think Emoni's career is over, and I do think he has a shot at getting drafted, I do think it's safe to say the NBA superstar expectations we had for him are no longer there. With that being said, I do think a few things accounted for Emoni's downfall. The first thing has to be a circle. From the moment Emoni took the grassroots stage by storm, his parents always put him in positions where he could be comfortable, whether that be attending Lincoln High School, who was coached by a close family friend, or creating his own AAU team, or creating his own school, and making every move in his favor. There was no accountability. He was never in a situation where he had to go through a tough coach and learn. Instead of sending him to an established prep school, they created their own, which I think was a very bad move, looking back at it. The next thing is his progression. Now, I do not want to jump to conclusions saying that during the 2020 summer he stopped working on his game, because I don't know, I wasn't with him. But when he got back to playing, you could tell his game did not expand, mature, or improve at all, and instead he regressed. Whatever the cause may be, it is what it is, and I think that it is a huge part of why Emoni hit a peak early. The last thing I really think affected Emoni was his decision to reclass. Knowing that he was not eligible for the draft and nor was ready to compete at that level, it made no sense at all to send him to college early, unless he would have redshirted. When you see guys like Jalen Duran, Scoot Henderson, or even Shaden Sharp, those are all guys who are ready to compete at the collegiate level or pro setting and wherever they went. And that also goes for any other player who reclassified recently. Emoni definitely was not ready to compete physically or mentally, and I think the best decision would have been to keep him at high school and send him to an Oak Hill or Montverde Academy where he would have been coached at a very high level and become more disciplined and would be ready for a solid season in college and go straight to the NBA. Overall, I think if Emoni had the right guidance and his circle held him accountable and helped him make better decisions, I think Emoni could still potentially one of the top prospects in the NBA draft class. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end and you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and smashing that like button so you don't miss out on any further videos, and commenting on any video suggestions for the future or anything I could have done better. Also, make sure to comment on anything on this current topic and let's get a great basketball conversation started. If you like more of these types of videos where I break down people's stories, let me know in the comments. I hope to see you guys on the next video and have a blessed day. Peace.